everyone, so today's video is gonna be a little bit of a rant. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna basically tell you all the things I wish I would have done for my skin sooner that just really changed my skin for the better. A lot of these things I adopted in my 30s, but I wish I would have actually done it sooner, maybe in my teen years or in my 20s. I'm not talking about things like Botox because I started that in my 30s and I think that was the best time to start it for me personally, but other things that just changed my skin completely. And when I look back, man, do I wish I would have started that stuff sooner. That's what I'm gonna talk about today. You might notice that my voice is like shot. I've been just going. I've been traveling a lot. I've been just doing a lot. I moved. There are so many things that have happened and I'm just like losing my voice. So I can't control it. And we had a shoot day scheduled. And so there's like a whole month of videos where my voice is like this. It is what it is. It's like the emoji. Does it look like me? All right, so the first thing I wish I would have started doing sooner than my 30s, but I didn't start until my 30s, is using a silk pillowcase. I know that seems so like not that important. I feel like it seems like something that's more of like a gimmick and not something that you necessarily need to do, but I have been stopping for silk for a very long time. I don't think you need to have silk everything, but having a silk pillowcase, or at the very least having like a silk eye mask to sleep with, I think is really, really helpful. I prefer a silk pillowcase because you're also getting benefits for your hair. Silk is just so much more gentle on your skin. It's more gentle on your hair. It doesn't tug. It doesn't really absorb all of your skincare products. So it's just really gentle when you are sleeping. I personally am a side sleeper. If you are sleeping on your side or sleeping on your face in any sort of way, like if you sleep on your stomach and you're sleeping on your face like that, you are causing lots of wrinkles, because if you think about it, you're just pressing up against your face, you're pressing against your skin, and you're causing these wrinkles. Like I always sleep on my right side, and after years and years and years of sleeping on my right side, my wrinkles are just so much deeper and harder to deal with on my right side. Like when I go get Botox, I can't even get rid of my crow's feet at this point. They just are permanent. They are not going anywhere. And it's because I sleep on my right side. So had I like been a little bit more gentle and used silk pillowcases, maybe been even more aware of the side I was sleeping on and tried to like switch it more often, try to sleep on my back, all of that kind of stuff, it maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe it would have been a little less prominent on my right side, but it's crazy what a severe difference there is on my right side versus my left side. And everybody's always like, your left side tends to be the worst because it's your driving side. It's like the side that the sun hits you through the window and everything. But for me, it's actually the opposite. It's my right side. And that's because it is a side that I sleep on. So I think silk pillowcases are great. And just being aware of being a side sleeper and how you press against your face. Number two, I mean, I just say it so many times, so much. I wish I would have stopped using makeup wipes. I went through like most of my teens and most of my 20s using makeup wipes. And I think of all of that time, all of those years of being so rough on my skin, not properly cleansing my skin, and just not having that perfect base at the end of the night to start my skincare routine. You are always setting yourself up for failure with your skincare routine, with your skincare, without a proper cleanse. If your skin is dirty, if you have stuff on your skin, whether it's makeup, sunscreen, whatever, grime from the day, and then you put products on top of that, you are just trapping all of that onto your skin. It doesn't matter that you're putting really nice products on your skin, because you're trapping bad stuff into your pores and onto your skin. And so of course you're gonna start breaking out and getting, just little bumps and everything. So it turns into this bad cycle for your skin. I wish I would have cut out makeup wipes so long ago. They don't properly cleanse your skin. I don't care what anyone tells you. If you really do get every single bit of everything off of your face, every like bit of makeup, every bit of sunscreen, all of it, that means you probably had to be really rough on your skin to get in there and dig. And that just causes irritation, which leads to issues with your skin as well. Cut the makeup wipes. I wish I did it sooner. Cutting makeup wipes obviously leads to the other thing that I did in my 30s that I wish I would have done sooner, that just helped my skin tremendously. And that is, I wish I would have started double cleansing so much sooner. I wish I would have started double cleansing in my teens, in my 20s. It is so much better for your skin. If you're not familiar with a double cleanse, I like the original type of double cleanse where you're starting with an oil-based cleanser on dry skin, breaking down all your makeup, all the grime and all the sunscreen from the day, emulsifying it, rinsing it off, then going in with your regular gel cleanser or your water-based cleanser. It's a game changer. For the longest time, I just did not understand how easy it is to make it part of your nighttime skincare routine. I think a lot of people get this mental block that it's gonna take so much longer than like your makeup wipes. Makeup wipes are like a crutch for a lot of people. And I understand there are times when like maybe makeup wipes are the only thing you're gonna ever reach for and it's better than nothing. But on a regular basis, if you can get yourself in the habit of doing a double cleanse at night, then it is, in my opinion, just such a better way to cleanse all of your makeup off of your face. It does not have to be hard. You can get into the groove of a double cleanse. It will be a game changer, I promise. Next, I wish I would have gotten on a consistent skincare routine. Whenever people ask me like, what's the best thing that you can do for your skin? There are so many things that I can tell you, right? I'll always ask people like, tell me about your skin. Tell me what you're using. Tell me what you're dealing with. I ask all these questions to learn about a person's skin because everything is so personal. But the one thing that I think you can say like as a blanket statement for everybody is the best skincare routine is a consistent skincare routine. And that means finding the products that work for you and sticking with it. And sticking with it for a while, for months, because you will not see a major change in your skin for months. And you have to be consistent. If you're just like choosing a couple of products here and there, and you're like switching them out constantly, and you're not, like one night you're not doing your skincare routine, and then 2 nights later you're like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do my skincare routine, you are not going to see benefits. You're not gonna see the real results from that skincare routine. You have to stick with your skincare routine and be consistent with it. If you are the kind of person who's like, I'm not gonna be able to do much, like I know myself, I am not gonna stick to a consistent skincare routine if I have this elaborate skincare routine, then go simple. In the morning, choose a sunscreen that is a moisturizer and it gives you just enough moisture, and maybe it has like some other antioxidants in it or something that just helps your skin, gives it that brightening, and that's all you have to use. That is a consistent skincare routine. If you are using your sunscreen every single morning, that's all that you would have to do. Be consistent with it. You'll see a change with your skin. Same with nighttime. When I am so exhausted and I just cannot think, I don't have the mental space, I am going to pass out, I double cleanse, throw on my retinol cream, and I go to bed. That is it. It takes me less than 5 minutes to do that skincare routine. This rule is very, very specific, especially to any of your active ingredients or ingredients that you're using, because maybe you want to lighten discoloration like hyperpigmentation for your skin. You want to see a difference in like the fine lines and wrinkles that you have. You want to have plumper skin. Any of that kind of stuff, if you're using exfoliants, if you're using retinoids, if you're using vitamin C, any of that kind of stuff, you have to be very consistent. Any of those ingredients that you're using for your acne, you have to be consistent. It's going to take months, if not years, to see a huge difference. So be consistent. Something else I wish I would have done sooner that I actually did start doing in my 20s, but I didn't get consistent with it until I was in my early 30s, and that was getting facials sooner. In my 20s, I was also broke. So let's be fair here. If you don't have the money to go pay for a facial, then it's like such a stupid thing to recommend to anybody. Like, obviously you have to meet your needs first and get by. And then if you can afford things like a facial, then go get a facial. It's totally worth it. And I sometimes tell people, if like you have to choose between, you know, getting like expensive skincare or a facial, I would recommend that you get a facial and then get yourself a nice affordable sunscreen and like a retinoid at night. Like that is all that you need to get started. Facials really changed the game for me. I had all of these weird hormonal breakouts that I was getting. I did a lot of research. I asked a lot of people, and I finally found my go-to esthetician, which takes a little bit of time. It's just like anything, like finding your right doctor, finding your right hairstylist, finding, you know, your right dentist. It's the same thing. Like when you find those people that click for you, because I get this question all the time, like how do you pick an esthetician? It's a little bit of a search. You have to ask around. You have to do your own research. You have to find the people that you click with. I finally found Vanessa Hernandez. I've talked about her so many times because I love her and she changed my skin. But I also try to get things like hydrofacials. I feel like my hydrofacials are really good for those in between, you know, like maintenance as well. A little bit more gentle. I don't have to have like intense extractions done anymore because I don't get those same kind of pimples that I used to when I was seeing Vanessa regularly. So, you know, I'll just go see Vanessa just to kind of get that maintenance. Also just to see her, I love her, she's a friend of mine. So, you know, getting facials from the right esthetician was a big game changer for me. So the next one is an interesting one. And that was, I wish I would have dealt with my pregnancy skincare issues sooner. And what I mean by that is I have 2 babies. So when I got pregnant the first time, I started to experience different skin issues that I'd never experienced before. The main one that has stuck with me like since then, I'm almost like 6 years out from my first pregnancy, and I still deal with melasma. That was probably one of my biggest issues that I dealt with. There were so many other things, like my first pregnancy, I had drier skin, but I was breaking out. The second pregnancy, I, just had so much intense melasma. But that first pregnancy, when I started dealing with these different issues, especially the melasma, which was pretty new to me at the time, I wish at the time I would have taken the approach of, let me deal with this now. Let me do what I can, which is hard to say when you're pregnant because you feel like you're not allowed to use anything. But I wish I would have actually gone and seen an expert, like a dermatologist, especially like a dermatologist like Dr. Nina Desai, who I actually see on a regular basis now for my skin issues and my melasma. She's a mom. She's been pregnant 4 times at this point. She understands skin that has any kind of melanin. She's a really great expert for these kinds of things. I wish I would have found somebody like that to help me try to get through as best as I could to tackle those skin issues earlier rather than later, because what I've discovered, and this kind of goes across the board for everybody, even if you're a teenager and you're getting really bad acne and it's just not going away and it's starting to become a worse problem instead of like getting better on its own or with whatever you're trying, I recommend not waiting. In my mind, as I was pregnant the first time, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till I have the baby. Then I'll deal with all of it. Like once I have my baby, I'm not pregnant anymore, I'm not breastfeeding anymore, I'm gonna go hard, I'm gonna deal with all my skin issues then. But that was actually such a problem because it just got worse and worse and worse. And by the time I got to that point, like a year and a half later, where I was like, I'm gonna deal with all these skin issues, it was harder to deal with at that point. And this is why it goes across the board for anybody, whether you're a teenager dealing with acne, whether you're an adult starting to deal with acne now, or you're getting your first bouts of like hyperpigmentation, you're getting melasma because you're pregnant. Try to do whatever you can to tackle those skin issues earlier rather than later, because once you get to a point where you're just so far in, it's harder to deal with it. For me, it took a few years to get to that stage of my melasma, like 4.5, 5 years. And now I've spent the last 2 years trying to tackle it. So it's like I've got all those years to rewind now. So it's gonna just take that long to get my melasma under control. So it's a process. So tackle it sooner rather than later is really the lesson. Speaking of Dr. Nina Desai, something I wish I would have done sooner is I wish I would have found real experts for myself, like personal, like people who are good for me. I say this because there are so many dermatologists, there's so many plastic surgeons, there are so many estheticians, just all these people that you can encounter for your skin that are doing lots of different treatments. In my 20s, again, I understand. I was broke in my 20s trying to look like the best that I could. And, like Groupon was huge when I was in my 20s. And so I was like finding deals and stuff. And I really didn't fully understand that just because a person is licensed or a doctor or has the ability to do any of these treatments, I didn't fully understand. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't going to like whack jobs. I wasn't going to somebody's like basement to do something like illegal. I was going to people who have decent like reviews and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't asking the right questions and finding people specifically for me. And this obviously takes a little bit of time of like learning what your skin type is, what you should be looking for. These are the reasons to, it's like amazing to have all this access now on social media to experts who are really giving out so much cool information and information you wouldn't have had access to without the internet, I guess. But back in my 20s, I didn't realize that, like, for me, for instance, I never really considered that my skin is skin that can be prone to hyperpigmentation. And so I was seeing people for, my skin and getting laser treatments done, and it was making my skin worse. I was getting hyperpigmentation and I wasn't fully understanding why. And these experts should have known better too. They shouldn't have done, like, maybe the settings were wrong. Maybe it wasn't the right laser treatment for me. Maybe they should have had me, doing some stuff for my skin ahead of time to prepare my skin for it. These are all things that I just didn't understand. And so now I know. I go see Dr. Nina Desai, like I said, to get like laser treatments done, for instance. And the reason why I trust her over other people doing my laser treatments is because I know she understands my skin type and my skin tone. She also understands that I've been pregnant a couple of times, so I've had these hormonal issues with my hyperpigmentation. She knows that I am prone to hyperpigmentation because I do produce melanin if I'm in the sun and I tan, which I don't, but it just tells you a lot about your skin. So she knows what she's doing with my skin. So finding those experts that really know you and understand your skin, it requires a lot of research. It requires a little bit of your time, asking a lot of questions, not feeling so nervous or like you have to see a provider just because you actually went in and, went in for a consultation or something. if you don't feel like this is the person for you, they're not answering your questions the way you want them to, then go. Don't waste your time. Honestly, it's just gonna cause more issues. Next, I wish I would have learned what products and ingredients I specifically needed for my own personal skin issues. This might sound like a given. I think that now, because of the internet, people are a little bit more educated on finding the products and the ingredients that they need. But I'll tell you, especially in my 20s, my teens, my 20s especially though, it was all about getting like a trendy product. This happens a lot, obviously, with makeup, but this happens with skincare too. You see a person recommend a product and they just rave about this product and how it made their skin look glowy and it was perfect and blah, 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 changed everything. And so it makes you be like, well, maybe I need this product, right? But sometimes you don't need that product because you don't know the full story behind that person's skin and what they're doing. And this is why I'm always telling you guys, like, even when I'm reviewing a product, and if I hardly ever say I don't like a product, but even if I say I like a product, I'll tell you why I personally liked that product, what it did for my skin. And I remind people I have dry skin, I have aging skin, I have melasma that I deal with. So I'm trying to give context of why this product worked for me. That doesn't mean a product that works for me would be good for you. You have to really look at what are your skin issues. So anytime somebody's like, what products do you recommend? What products do you recommend from your own skincare line? The first question I ask is, tell me about your skin. Tell me about what you do, because it's all so personal. You know, like I know if I want to get myself on an 8-step skincare routine at night, I know I'm gonna stick to that. Will everybody stick to an 8-step skincare routine? No, not necessarily, right? So that's a factor. So that's very personal, right? I have dry skin, I have melasma. There are so many different ingredients and products that are very specific for me that are not specific to somebody else who has oily, acne-prone skin. You really have to find things that are working for you specifically and are made for you specifically. And when you're listening to somebody recommend a product, even if it's your friend saying that this like product changed their life, well, you gotta have context. Why did it change their skin? What were they dealing with? What is their skin type? Is it the same as yours? Chances are it's not. So just always keep that in mind. All right, we're down to the last two, and I actually think these are the most important for most people, and probably the easiest to get behind too. I wish I would have started retinoids sooner. A lot of people ask me this, when should I start using retinoids? And I'm talking about your vitamin A derivatives. So retinol, retinaldehyde, prescriptions like tretinoin, or like even your adapalene. It all kind of depends on your skin. Teenagers can start using retinoids if they have acne issues, for instance. So you can start sooner rather than later. I'm referring specifically to anti-aging benefits. Actually, not even anti-aging benefits, because in my 20s, I dealt with so much hormonal acne and adult acne. I wish I would have turned to retinoids. I think I was so scared of using retinoids, but I wish I would have started sooner. I really do. And I wish I would have been consistent with it sooner. I didn't really get consistent with retinoids until I was like 34, something like that. You need to get on a retinoid. I don't care how sensitive your skin is, whatever. Find the right retinoid for you and get consistent with it. It will change your skin. That's for your nighttime. The last thing I wish I would have done sooner and consistently was using my sunscreen on a regular basis daily. Daily sunscreen. I truly did not start doing that until I was in my early 30s. And that's because I was starting to get a little bit more vain. I really did not care about my potential for skin cancer, for instance, because to me, I'm like, oh, that doesn't run in my family. But for me, it became a vanity issue. And I remember I worked on this campaign actually with SkinCeuticals. People don't realize this, the vitamin C, the CE ferulic was not as popular as it was when it first came out. They really pushed hard on that marketing to push out the message of vitamin C with your sunscreen. And I worked on one of their first digital campaigns. I actually spent a whole year working with the SkinCeuticals team back when I was a beauty editor. So this was almost a decade ago. They were really pushing this whole message of using your CE ferulic and then your sunscreen to prevent skin cancer. That was their main focus, and how vitamin C boosts the effects of your sunscreen. So this is where I really learned that, because I spent that whole year working on that campaign for them. And so I really got into vitamin C at the time, but also my sunscreen. And what's funny is I'm a big believer in my vitamin C, because I really do believe that vitamin C changed my skin, and it started with that CE ferulic. But it's hard to say that it was the vitamin C, or if it was the vitamin C with the sunscreen, or if it was just the sunscreen, because it was around that time that I started to realize how important my daily sunscreen was. And that's when I started to become more and more consistent with it. And I wish I would have done that sooner. They say most of the damage you're dealing with, you got earlier in life, in your childhood or in your teen years. And I know, I look back, geez, I come from the era of sun bathing, sun worshiping. My mom would literally hand me a bottle of baby oil when I was a teenager, even when I was a kid, and I would go fry out in the sun, and we thought this was normal. We thought that being sunburnt was it sucked, but it was gonna be worth it. Like that was kind of the mindset. Like painful, fine, maybe pushed it too far, but in the next 2-3 days, you're gonna be golden, so it's fine, you know, like that kind of thing. That's how I grew up. And I think back on that and how I just really caused all these issues that I'm trying to deal with now. So I wish I would have been more consistent with my sunscreen. This is something that anybody can do. There's so many sunscreens on the market. If there's one thing that you're gonna change for your skincare routine and start sooner, get on your daily sunscreen. So those are 10 things I wish I would have done for my skin sooner than my 30s. You know, there are so many things that I did in my 30s that were great for my 30s, but these are things I wish I would have done even sooner than my 30s. So hopefully that was helpful. I know this was like a big rant. You know, I know like, you know, people like James Welch like do their skincare routine while they're ranting. Would you guys like that better? Should I be doing my skincare routine? I feel like when I want to talk, I just want to talk and I want to do everything else, but I could also be doing my skincare routine if that's what you guys want to. Tell me in the comments below what you wish you would have done for your skin sooner, or if there are any of these things that I listed that you're going to now adopt into your own skincare habits or your skincare routine. Find me on Instagram. I'm at Susan Yara, and I'll talk to you soon.